Hey y'all, I am skipping out on the big old Super Bowl for a really fun girls' night downtown Durham, watching Les Miserables with one of my bestest friends, Katie Cardoz. And I'm super excited because we're kind of going like girls' night fancy. So I figured, why not get ready with me? So first things first, for a full face, I am applying the Touch Glorious primer because it is raining cats and dogs outside, and I want to make sure that this makeup doesn't go anywhere. So the very first thing I'm doing is applying that primer to make sure that my face stays on through the rain, because we're gonna be going on anyways. Steven Speck, I don't care what you're watching for, I'm just glad you're watching. So the best thing with priming is that it's got to stay there for just a little bit, right? So we got to let it dry for about 5 minutes, because if you're not letting it dry for about 5 minutes, then you really are going to blend in your foundation with your actual primer, and it's not going to stay. Speck, I'm so glad that you're able to join me for this, even if you are just going to probably make fun of me the entire time. So while that's drying, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I'm doing tonight. So me and my girl are going to the movies, or not to the movies, but to the actual theater live in Durham. We're going to the Counting House for dinner, and then going to DPAC. So we're super, super excited, because I got these tickets for Christmas from my daddies. And then they were like, why aren't you coming to our family thing? And I was like, because we're going to the theater, because remember you gave us those tickets, and so I won't be coming to a family dinner on Sunday. I will be going to the theater instead. And so we're really excited because Katie and I are going to go to Les Mis, which is super exciting. As a world history teacher, I am super pumped. Okay, so now that my primer is dried, next step is our Touch Mineral Liquid Foundation. So we're going to just put a little bit of that on. Again, I put that primer on first because it is raining cats and dogs. Jillian has not even gone outside at all today. Like, not one time has she gone to the bathroom today because it's raining, and my dog hates rain. So she's been waiting until we got home so we can put on her rain jacket. Okay? And I love this liquid foundation. Gosh, it goes on so ridiculously smooth. It's way more like a mousse than like an actual foundation. I mean, you guys can't probably see it as well as I can, but it is just like completely and totally smooth. Most of the other liquid foundations I've ever tried, they've been more like serum-y, and so every time you try to put on this foundation, it like was like you're painting instead of like actually putting on foundation, where you would be able to like let it go and like not have to put anything on after it. But the other foundations I was using, you had to put on a powder in order to get that look, like that very powdery, fresh, fully done look. So my favorite trick right now is still baking my foundation and baking the concealer, because I really think that it gives it a nice little a nice glow that otherwise might not be there. Okay, so to bake all that baking means is that you're letting it sit on there for a certain amount of time, right? And so you're letting it kind of get into your pores there so that it creates this like really nice contoury look. And so all I do is put on my foundation, and then I put this concealer on top of it, and I let it sit while I'm doing my eyes. And it kind of bakes in. And it creates kind of that highlighting look that otherwise I might not get. So I've put a little bit on this side, I put a little bit on this side. I'm not going all the way up to my eye line because I don't want to get into those creases under there. But I'm just going to kind of let that sit for just a little bit while I do my eye makeup. And so since we're going to the theater and it's kind of super special, I'm going to do a little smoky eye for y'all. So for this, I'm actually going to break out my trusty Naked palette from my like other life, because I've gotten a lot more confident in in my ability to actually put on this type of makeup. And so when I'm doing this, I'm like actually feeling like, man, I can use this palette for the true extent. You can see in this palette, I really only use like 2 or 3 different colors. I haven't used that much. And so today I'm going to take advantage of the full extent of it. So I'm grabbing my deluxe brush. Now, the brush that comes with this isn't even of the same caliber as this deluxe brush. So I'm taking a what's called Liar. It's a brown sparkly right here, and I'm taking that and I'm gonna put it all over my lid to kind of create the base for this smoky eye. And this is a little bit darker than what I would usually do, but since I'm going to the theater, I'm just gonna kind of like jam out, man. So before I put this on, I actually had put my primer on top of my eyelid. I've got some eyeshadow primer that I also use for this, but since I was just going to go ahead and do one full face, I figured I might as well just go ahead and put my face primer on top of it. And then to create kind of the same color that I had going, I actually ran my foundation over my eye to kind of create that basis that I'm looking for. So this is their crease brush compared to what the crease brush that Younique has, and it's a huge difference. This one's flat. This one is totally and completely round. I have never been able to get the same type of results with other crease brushes like I have with this one, just because it is so to the point and it actually gets what I'm looking to get out of it. So the very next color I'm going to go with is Black Heart, and it's actually the darkest one here. I have literally never touched this color in my entire life, so I'm really excited to kind of play around with it. I hope Katie enjoys my look tonight because it is all for her. So I'm kind of putting this on in the creases, and man, this stuff is dark. I mean, I kind of knew. You never really know until you put it on there, and then you're like, holy crap. So I guess the next thing I'm going to do to just kind of finish off this look here is run this down here, kind of give me this smoky under eye look, and I'm going to go back in and clean that up a little bit later with this going here. I don't want to look like I have a black eye, and right now I kind of look like a panda, so I'm going to go back in and clean that up in a little bit. So to add a little bit of color, I'm actually going to go with my sponge brush. If you guys haven't been using a sponge brush, you're missing out on life, because the sponge brush changes everything, and I never knew actually how to use a sponge brush until recently. And so since I took a darker brown and then that black, I'm actually going to go into a lighter pink. I'm probably going to go in this baby pink right here. It's called Rust. And I'm just going to take some sponges of that. I'm dabbing my brush in, and then I'm going to come in here and just dab it on the inside here, so that it comes here. And what a sponge brush is to be used for, guys, is actually to create some really concentrated color. I had never used a sponge brush like previous to my friend Danielle telling me what the sponge brush was for, and now it has like changed my game, because now everything kind of goes in the way it's supposed to. So then I'm going to take my angled brush, and I'm going to run it through the lightest color here, because I'm kind of going to create some of this light area like right around the lash line, because I kind of want to create this illusion that like it's lighter and then it's darker. And I'm taking the angled one for a couple of different reasons. Mostly because I want to get a very particular line here. I want to stay below the crease and kind of right up against the lash line there. So now you can kind of see I've kind of created a couple different colors going in there. I'm going to go back in with this sponge brush real quick though, because I was not satisfied with that corner. I want to keep that corner a little sparkly. Mostly because I'm feeling fancy. now we got a couple colors going. And let me tell you, this is not my usual face. And so what I'm going to end up doing is actually blending this out just a little bit so that it kind of becomes a little bit more together all in one piece, so that it doesn't look so harsh. And so you can kind of see that black becomes a little bit more defined. I'm actually going to run it underneath too, just to kind of create a little bit more of that look. And I'm actually going to touch up some of that with my concealer when I go back over that. So now that I've got a little bit of this darker look going, I'm fixing up this eyebrow here and this side here so that they match. I'm passionate about my eyes matching. So you can kind of see that I've kind of created a little bit of a look here. And you know, I'm actually kind of feeling like I didn't get enough pink in that corner, so I'm going to go back in with that sponge brush and maybe do a little bit darker of a pink called Buzz, and see if I can get in there just a little bit to create a little bit more, a little definition between the lighter color pink that I have down at the bottom and that pink that I created before, so that you can kind of see different colors going in here. There we go. That's a little bit better. Now I got that pink going. And I'm just going to run the blender brush over that once, because I don't want it to go too far blended. And I'm going to go back over my eyebrow line to highlight it a little bit with that lighter color Strange. Because I would just want to make sure. I'm kind of particular about my eyebrows because they have a whole lot of veins in them, and so I like to really make sure that those are highlighted before I move on very far. So now we've got our eyelashes, or our eyes, and I'm actually going to do something called tight lining, so I can kind of create a fuller lash line. So I'm actually going to take my eye and pull it up. And I'm running the eyeliner kind of along the bottom here to help create the look of fullness. I don't regularly put eyeliner like on top of my eyelashes. I usually put them under. So again, kind of putting them under there. I'm also going to put a little bit just to blend in that corner. Remember, I put a little bit of that eyeshadow down there, so I just want to make sure that that corner is getting blended in and that there's no real differences. Put my finger on my concealer. Whoopsie. Alright, so now I have my eyes done. And I got the bottom done, so I'm actually going to go back in and I'm going to blend in that concealer a little bit. So I'm taking my precision brush and I'm just kind of running it over it. I'm not going to like really wipe it away so much as I am cleaning up just those areas. So I'm dabbing to kind of create, because I don't want to take it off. I really want to leave that color in there so that it creates that highlight that I'm looking for. Okay. So now you can see that corner is kind of smoky rather than looking like a panda like it was before. Okay, so now that I have that done, I'm going to use some setting powder, some setting spray on this because it's raining and I really don't want this to kind of fade away. So I'm taking our Behold setting powder. You could use powder or you could use our spray. I like to use the spray, mostly because I think sometimes the powder can get a little heavy. And it's just 2 and an X. That stuff tastes so good. I accidentally got a load in my mouth. And it smells so good. I've used that kind of stuff before, but I like ours particularly because of the fact that it tastes good. And it also is a little bit different than the Urban Decay one that I have a tendency to use. Okay, so now I have my concealer blended in. I'm just kind of going back over some of these areas with my foundation brush to make sure that they're blended in truly and fully. What you think? I think it's pretty good. Okay, so now I'm going to go back in with my Epic mascara. Now, since it's a kind of fancy night, I'm actually going to go back in with my Epic and my 3D lashes, and I'll show you a little bit of both. I like to use the Epic first because it really does the curling. The 3D lashes is really going to add some of that fullness in there, but I love a good curl. And so we'll kind of show you what it looks like before and after. We'll do one eye first with both the Epic and the 3D, and then we'll do the other eye. So whenever you're using the Epic, I always use 2 coats because I really feel like that's what gives the definition that I'm looking for. So with Epic, without Epic, I don't even have to use an eyelash curler with this stuff because it curls my eyelashes as it dries, and so it creates this like faux curling look. And you know, even if I didn't want to use the 3D lashes, I probably could get away with it because this stuff really does add a whole heck of a lot of fullness to it. Okay, so that's 2 coats of the Epic. So if you haven't ever tried our Epic mascara, it's like thebomb.com because you don't have to use any sort of curling iron or eyelash curler or anything like that because it's just like thebomb.com. On my bottom lashes, I just use the Epic. I don't use the 3D lashes just because I don't want to create this like crazy looking thing. Okay, so 3D lashes, 2 containers. You're going to take the transplanting gel first and go just over the eye so that you kind of create a foundation for those fibers to stick to. And it's going to take these lashes to a whole nother level, right? So they're already pretty full. They're already like sky high, but it's going to take it to a whole nother level. So I'm now going to take the 3D fibers and I'm going to blink them on. I don't like usually like rub them in. I just blink them on because they have a tendency to fall off, and if they get in your eye, they kind of hurt a little bit. So you just want to blink them on real light and kind of get into especially the corners because that's really where you start to see that fullness building. Boom. I mean, huge difference. Okay. So now just to go back over and make sure that they stay in place, I'm going back over with my transplanting gel one more time. Just to really make sure they are in there all full. Okay? So there's one eyelash done. It's like total falsies without the falsies. So just to kind of give you an idea of what the difference is between the 3D and the Epic, I'm going to go back over on this side and I'm actually going to go ahead and put the Epic on it. That way you can see it, and then I'll do another round of the 3D over here just to really latch in that fullness. Oh God! Ah! Lesson number 2: don't touch yourself with your mascara wand because it will get on you and cause issues. And you'll have to redo your makeup in one spot. I think that's pretty good. Okay, so now I'm going to go back in here with this Epic on this side. So you can really see kind of what the difference is between the Epic and the 3D. So the 3D really is creating that fullness while the Epic is doing the curling, right? And so you can kind of tell the difference here in the outside edges as far as where the thickness is. I mean, it does make a pretty big difference. So now I'm going to do one more coat of Epic on this side just to even it out and make sure that I've created a good foundation for those 3D lashes. Alright. There we go. Okay, so now we're gonna go back on there and do another round of 3D lashes on this side just to make sure that it's super full and beautiful. I'm like really digging this smoky eye look that I got going right now. This is kind of my faves. So I'm going back over just one more time with that transplanting gel just like I did before. Okay, and now it's gonna really hook into some of these because it has dried. And so now it's gonna really get into some of those edges that hadn't been filled before. So again, I'm just blinking this stuff on. Just like that. If you don't put mascara on with your mouth open, who are you? So, can I see a big difference now, especially between the two of them? Just like before, I'm going to run my transplanting gel over just to make sure that I get off some of that, any of the loose ones, get them transplanted in there. So you've got lots of thickness, beautiful lashes. Okay, so this is 3D with 2 applications, and this is just the Epic, okay? So you can kind of see a difference in the fullness, especially right through here, as opposed to this side. Big fan, okay? And it definitely takes this look from like drab to fab to luxury, luxurious, etc. Hopefully Katie knows exactly what she's going on a date with tonight. Now I'm going to do this side just so that they're even. And then we will wrap up this video with some super fancy lips. I haven't decided what I'm wearing tonight, and that's kind of a problem because I need to decide what I'm wearing as far as... But we're going to the theater, but we're also going to this really fancy restaurant at the 21C Hotel called The Counting House. So we're really going for like a full-on girls' day. Wine included, maybe some cocktails. You never know. We might get a little crazy. Man, these lashes are awesome. I'm obsessed with this 3D lash stuff. I mean, it really makes you feel like you got some like movie star lashes. Putting on one more coat here just to keep it consistent with the 2 coats. I put it on the other side. Watch her like not get dressed up at all because it's rain. So, eye makeup done. I feel like I'm like serious rock star with all this shadow I got going. I've never really used a black like that, and so I'm kind of a big fan of the way it turned out. So we got our lashes done and our eyeballs done. We're good to go. Okay, so to kind of wrap up the top there, I'm gonna go in and do my eyebrows just to make sure they're all good to go. So I'm taking my eyebrow shadow from Bare Minerals. I haven't quite switched over everything to Younique yet. Younique has a really cool eyebrow pencil that kind of makes these fine lines that this brow powder isn't able. And their sculpting trio actually does all of the work for you as far as like, how do I create the shape I'm going for? They do all the hard stuff for you. That way you can focus in on looking beautiful. And so I really think that brows complete the look because otherwise you're just kind of shifting straight from your cheekbones to your forehead. And nobody wants that, right? You want a sculpted face, full on. And so now I'm just gonna go back over just to blend them in. Make sure that everything's good. Jillian and I are totally driving to the dog park because I am not going to get out of the car. Okay, so now my eyes are done. If I was wanting to, I could add a little bit of color to my cheekbones. So I'm actually going to go ahead and do that since we're looking all fancy, might as well, right? Again, I'm going to take this precision brush just because I think this brush is awesome. And I'm going to dab it into my NARS blush so that I can dab it on here to kind of create the precision look that I'm going for, right? So anytime that you're really trying to get like a good color in a very specific spot, using some sort of precision brush and also a bold color and dabbing rather than swiping is always a really good idea. So like I'm trying to create a really specific blush here, and so I'm gonna dab it on. Okay, and then I'll just roll over it with my powder brush just to make sure it's blended. And I do a little same thing with my bronzer here, just to kind of create this look that I'm going for, which is a full face of makeup. Again, taking the bronzer and you're going to go about halfway and then all the way up, just right underneath that line where you put your blush at, because you want to create this look of false shadows. And then you're going to go over it with your powder brush, kind of blend in, and now you've got this like really rock star look. Okay, so now that my face is done completely and totally, I am going to move into my lips. And since I don't know what I'm wearing, I'm thinking like I'm just going to go with like a regular red lip, because I don't want to go too bold, especially since I've got my bold eyes going. So I'm actually going to take our bold red lip powder, and I'm going to go with that. I love this stuff. It's so cool. It's like seriously powdery. Can't really see it, but if you could, you'd be like really impressed. Okay, so with lip stuff, especially when you're trying to create some fine lines, you're going to create an X right here. Because the idea is that you want those like very specific lines up there. And then you're going to just draw down. From where you put them. Now you've got some serious red lip lines. And anytime you mess up with the powders, they're super easy. And all you gotta do is take Q-tip and fix the areas that got a little, well, you got a little aggressive. Alright, so I'm officially Les Miserables ready. I'm super excited to see my girl Katie, and I'll see you next time.